Happy Wednesday, everybody. Tommy Grisafi, Advanced Trading, ATI Pro Media. Making sure I got all the buttons hit. Well, it's good to be here. And we're going to have an exciting show for you. A lot of headlines came out overnight, way more than I think. I'm talking to a client right now. And Sugar Beet campaign starts tonight. So to all the good folks up north, I know you had a hard time with there's abnormally warm weather. And we learned from our friend Mick Kerr that while these tropical storms keep brewing, it's really affecting what's happening west of the Mississippi. So we're going to look over at LaSalle Street, then we're going to go look over at Wall Street, and we got a lot of headlines to get through, and then we'll go from there. All right. Corn, the star of the show, kind of, till you see its cousin wheat. These corn up 4, no soybeans down 7. Here's where we have some trouble and some interesting markets. Meal down 11.4. Soybean oil up 11.4. I don't know how those folks who trade meal against oil do it. Hats off to you. We got to ring the bell. We got some action in the wheat. Board of Trade wheat up 16, KC up 20, Minneapolis up 12. Looking at the cattle, live cattle up 40, feeder cattle up 70, hogs up 50. Nice little board there in the protein. The trend's going the right way. We'll take it to Wall Street real quick. Looking at the Dow Jones. Dow Jones down 80, S&P down 20, NASDAQ down 50. Looking at interest rates, this has been really interesting because there's a lot of talk. Are we cutting 50? Is this port strike inflationary? 2s, 5s, 10s, 30s, all lower on the day, which means interest rates are going up. Now, that's a complete unwind of what happened yesterday. We'll talk about the big four here in a little bit. Looking at gold down 10, silver up 70. Look to see some unwinding out of that gold silver. Also, keep an eye on the gold Bitcoin spread. A lot of talk of that. Dr. Copper up 5. Crude oil up 240. That's interesting. Natural gas up 76. Bitcoin down 500. All right. Into the headlines. Let's first of all, you're going to see a lot more solo acts. Some days I'm going to be solo. Some days Connor. Some days Brady. I know Connor and Brady right now are filming premium content, and it's going to be a good one. I'm going to film premium content after this. We'd love to see you on premium. We'll talk about that in a little more. Jojo, let's get in the headlines. Crude oil absolutely on fire. Crude oil continues to rally, trading around $72 a barrel on tensions in the Middle East. That's really interesting what's happening over there. A lot of $5 move in crude oil in yesterday's premium. I talked about crude oil, gold, bonds, and everything else. Big shout out to everyone watching. I want to give our fans on X, the old X. Hey, speaking of X, did you watch the debate last night? If you did watch the debate, drop a comment. What did you think of the debate? You won't hurt our feelings. You're an American. You're a patriot. Each one of us gets one vote. What did you think of the debate last night? There was some surprises. I'll just start off with, I grew up middle class just like you. So it looks like both of our vice presidential candidates grew up middle class, and they actually did. Looks like a couple presidential candidates grew up middle class. Now, of course, Trump did not grow up middle class, but I guess that's popular to say. So from my house, this YouTube page, to you, Tom Grisafi, I grew up middle class with my brother Joe Grisafi in Griffith, Indiana. And if anyone knows anything about Griffith, it's right next to Gary. And most of our people in Griffith worked at the steel mills when the steel mills were booming in the 70s and 80s. If you want to know what it's like where I grew up, it's just like the movie Rudy, where the houses were tight together. The kids were out there throwing the football. The mom's yelling out the door saying dinner's done. We used to have our bicycles. We used to jump ramps. Joe, remember that? We used to jump, set up stuff, jump, crash bikes, all that stuff. I grew up middle class, so thanks for watching this channel. Although I'm not running for office, maybe sometimes I should. All right. On the interesting thing, crude oil's up. You know what else is up? Lockheed Martin soars to all-time highs. That's a war trade. That's old school. When you see crude going up $4-5 off the low, up $2.30 today, Lockheed Martin hits all-time highs. Of course, a lot of times we talk about corn, beans, and wheat, but I look at this as a financial channel that loves agriculture. Next but not least, this was interesting. This happened overnight, and I'll have some charts to talk about it. Bloomberg, EU poised to delay landmark deforestation rule for 1 year. This moved the soybean market, and this is what's moving soybean meal. That, of course, with possible rains coming into Brazil. So interesting headline. I will pull up a chart on that. Keep an eye on Australian wheat production. Australian wheat production estimates are dropping as cold weather and dryness is hurting their crops as they come out of dormancy. Australia can move the markets. Speaking of moving markets, I don't think anyone does a finer job than this guy. Arlen Suderman from FC Stone raised the U.S. national corn yield forecast to 184, USDA at 183.6, and national bean yield at 53.5 versus 53.2. So when you see a bean rally like we've had, you see a corn rally like we have, you see the carries, you can see why we're doing a lot of premium content. Matter of fact, had a nice farmer call me yesterday from northern Indiana. He said, I screw up this catching the carry thing. I know there's carry and I want to catch it, but if I don't sell it out there, I didn't catch carry. I said, don't worry, we got a whole bunch of premium videos on it. We'll hold your hand and we'll help you catch the carry. All right. With that, I want to talk about the gold silver ratio. I mentioned it and quoting it up. Right now, Brother Joe and Rick told me that the gold silver is at about 82, 83. It takes 83 ounces of silver to buy 1 ounce of gold. Keep an eye on that. Joe told me that platinum, which flies all around, is actually very, that ratio that a lot of, if you didn't know better, if you had an ounce of silver next to an ounce of platinum, you could screw it up. Now, one's worth a lot more than the other, but when it comes to jewelry and stuff, they're starting to move to platinum. And I can't remember, what's the thing that gets catalytic converters? I think that's palladium. I once remember when palladium was going nuts and people were stealing catalytic converters. I'll tell you a story. Sometime I had a RV and it was in storage and someone stole both my catalytic converters. And when I started that RV, it was like a scene out of the movie Casino. I thought someone blew up my car. Besides being pissed someone stole the catalytic converters, I about had a heart attack. It was the loudest doggone thing I ever heard. And I was kind of embarrassed and upset. Now, if you want justice out of that, the person who had stole all the catalytic converters, they went one town over, jacked up a car, and the jack released while they were under a car, and they were crushed and died. So if there's some justice to the story, the bad guys who were stealing the catalytic converters, who would get $100 for the what was in them, but it would cost us $1,000, $1,200 to replace. So be careful out there. Sometimes life comes around and gets you on the back end. All right, with that, what else do we have to talk about? I want to talk a little bit about premium content, and I want to talk about the big four. Over on my screen right now, I got these big four up right now. Yesterday, we talked about it. If we could pop it up, Joe or Rick, the premium content. We talked about, we'll get the pop-up of what the thumbnail was, but we talked about gold. We talked about bonds, we talked about crude oil, and we talked about stocks. When I watch these four tickets over here, when something happens in the world, when we were doing a live stream yesterday, Brady and I, and you see crude oil go up $1, $2, $3, that's a huge, big deal. Then you see the bond market explode. That's a flight to quality. Then you see the stock market go down. And then you see gold go up. A lot of things happening. So when I'm watching the markets over here, I'm keeping a close eye on it. With that, crude oil's holding up 215. Real quick, I want to talk about what happened in soybeans overnight. We will bring up that chart now. In soybeans overnight, this is a 5-minute chart. And on this headline, again, when this came out right here, beans were right here. And so beans took a dippy-do, then they bounced and they took another dippy-do. So a nice little move in soybeans today. We have a pretty healthy range looking at no beans, 1042 all the way up to 1063. So call it a healthy 20-cent range in soybeans. And that makes sense when you're trading 1050, 1060 beans at harvest with everything we have. Not uncommon to see. I will say the one mystery, and I am so happy for all of you, the biggest mystery out there is corn. I want to talk about soybean meal real quick too. This is a 10-minute chart. Again, on that EU news, look how, if you wake up and you're like, why is meal down? Why is beans down? Right here, EU poised to delay landmark deforestation. That's a big word, deforestation. Normally I make Connor say the hard words, but he's not here. Okay, real quick, the one chart, the gift that keeps giving here. Corn absolutely on fire and loving it. D's 24 corn, green line is the 100-day, red line's the 200. Both no beans and D's corn went up to the 100, tested it, played around a little bit there, breaking through. Boy, if you're a hedge fund and you're really short corn, you got to be scratching your head and saying, where's the harvest pressure? Oftentimes, Markets make a low, not often in August, but sometimes they do. You figure the end of August, October 1st, we start to make lows. Even though we're going to have 2 weeks of beautiful weather here in the Midwest, farmers still have a lot of capital. And farmers are going to do everything they can not to sell this corn at a bad price and a poor basis. Now, basis is flying around all over for all different reasons, and we could talk about that more in premium. Real quick before we get out of here today, and we will get a couple questions. I want to talk to you about premium. Again, on the day shows, you're not going to see me as much. We're going to move over. I'm going to move over and do a lot more premium. But if you miss me, if you miss this pretty face, go to Advanced Trading's website or ATI Pro Media's website and say, hey, I want to talk to Tommy personally. I want to talk to Brady, Connor, Joe. I want to talk to someone from, look at the map. We have a map of where advanced trading brokers are. Just say, hey, I see there's someone here. I talked to nice man called yesterday and we talked for a half hour and I'm going to go out and see him next week. So it's that easy, folks, right? Ring the bell. You call me, I call you back, and then we visit. I hope we can add value here to this harvest. All right. What is ATI Pro Media? What is premium? Well, we sit around and we record stuff, and we record what we think is really important to you at the time. And the markets are moving extremely fast, and we try to get those out. I think the boys right now are filming something on crop insurance. I'm going to film with the land talker today. We're going to grab our coworker, Kurt Struber, and talk about what's going on in these cash markets here as we come into harvest. I know you guys have a lot of questions and comments, and we want to answer those. So welcome to ATI Pro Media, powered by Advanced Trading. We're a financial channel that loves agriculture. For just $1 a day, you'll receive advanced trading research, actionable text, and a minimum of 6 videos a week featuring industry experts and insight. Click the button below to subscribe today. All right, click like, subscribe, the Advanced Trading YouTube. We want you on premium. Sometimes free is too expensive. So my days here are probably limited here on the live stream. But boy, have we had a good time doing it. Something else we talk about on premium is store and ignore is not working as well as it used to. I know interest rates are coming down, but they're not coming down that much. So we really want to talk about getting those bushels to the right person at the at the right thing. All right, I'm going to go through a couple questions. I'll click them and see what we have here. All right, let's see here. Luke talking about wheat. Love that. A little premium over there. Buckeye Farmer Boy, I'll grab that one. And then we'll get out of here. Update from Ohio, corn blowing flat and beans sprouting in the pods. Oh, Luke, that's that 4 or 5 inches of rain you got on what was a crop that was really dry. That's no good. No good, my friend. And with that really stinks. Ohio having a tough time not getting to enjoy this price rally because they didn't have the bushels. All right, if you missed it and you want to see it, last night we jumped on, what do we have here? TG is 100% genuine. These guys make time to call and talk to you on the phone. I personally talked to Tommy, Joe, Brady, great people. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you so much. You're so kind. We will answer the phone. Now, of course, the line's recorded, so you got to know that everything we talk about, the government wants to hear too. This was yesterday's premium. Crude oil explodes higher. Corn and soybeans hit the 100-day. They are now past that. If you need a copy of that, get a hold of me. All right, we're going to end the shows a little different. If you're out there in internet land, thank you for watching. If you'd like to get a hold of us, you can take a picture of this QR code. You can get a hold of us here on 1-855-737-FARM, info at ATI Pro Media. I'm going to get off the show, record a little premium, but before I leave, what an interesting day. Beans are down 8, corn's up 3. Meal leading the way down. We have a lot of things happening in the outside markets. Impressive day in the wheat complex. I love the volatility. I got to tell you, 30, 35 days out to the election. Port strike looks like it's the real deal. That guy, he's something else. There's a lot of things. 34 days to the election, I was just told. Well, it's going to be interesting. I got to tell you, I was impressed with both candidates. I know that was a much better, easier to watch debate, and I actually felt like we learned a little something about both of those gentlemen's opinions and leadership styles and everything else. I know this. They grew up middle class. All right. Tommy Grisafi checking out. I'm going to run this QR code for about 20 seconds. Thank you for watching ATAI Pro Media. Of course, we're powered by Advanced Trading. If you'd like to subscribe to Premium or you'd like to talk to us, give us a call, email, text, book a half-hour appointment, and we'll get right back to you. Everyone have a safe harvest. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.